The melodious sounds of a love ballad drifted through the huge 3-story house in Seattle's Capitol Hill. Ellen Cunningham hummed along as she rubbed her wet curls with a thick towel. These late afternoon hours before her housemates returned were the only time she had the place to herself, so she'd taken advantage of the peaceful interlude to wash her hair. Privacy was at a premium with 3 men in the house, and she couldn't always count on the upstairs bathroom being available later in the evening. Twisting the fire engine red towel around her head, turban style, Ellen walked barefoot across the hallway toward her bedroom to retrieve her blouse. Halfway there, she heard the faint ding of the oven timer, signaling that her apple pie was ready to come out. She altered her course and bounded down the wide stairway. Her classes that day had gone exceptionally well. She couldn't remember ever being happier, even though she still missed Yakima, the small apple-growing community in central Washington where she'd been raised. But she was adjusting well to life in the big city. She'd waited impatiently for the right time and enough money to complete her education, and she'd been gratified by the way everything had fallen into place during the past summer. Her older sister had married, and her baby brother had entered the military. For a while, Ellen was worried that her widowed mother might suffer from empty nest syndrome, so she'd decided to delay her education another year. But her worries had been groundless, as it turned out. James Simonson, a widower friend of her mother's, had started dropping by the house often enough for Ellen to recognize a romance brewing between them. The time had finally come for Ellen to make the break, and she did it without guilt or self-reproach. Clutching a potholder in one hand, she opened the oven door and lifted out the steaming pie. The fragrance of spicy apples spread through the kitchen, mingling with the savory aroma of the stew that simmered on top of the stove. Carefully, Ellen set the pie on a wire rack. Her housemates appreciated her culinary efforts, and she enjoyed doing little things to please them. As the oldest, Ellen fit easily into this household of young men. In fact, she felt that the arrangement was ideal. In exchange for cooking, a little mothering on the side, and a share of the cleaning, Ellen paid only a nominal rent. The unexpected sound of the back door opening made her swivel around. "What's going on?" Standing in the doorway was a man with the most piercing green eyes Ellen had ever seen. She noticed immediately that the rest of his features were strongly defined and perfectly balanced. His cheekbones were high and wide, yet his face was lean and appealing. He frowned, and his mouth twisted in an unspoken question. In one clenched hand, he held a small leather suitcase, which he slowly lowered to the kitchen floor. "Who are you?" He spoke sharply, but it wasn't anger or disdain that edged his voice. It was genuine bewilderment. Ellen was too shocked to move. When she'd whirled around, the towel had slipped from her head and covered one eye, blocking her vision. But even a one-eyed view of this stranger was enough to intimidate her. She had to admit that his impeccable business suit didn't look very threatening. But then she glanced at his glowering face again,